Hello, chicos. This is the last day of 2025. I am not ready to. Am I ready? I'm ready, but I'm not ready to call it 2026. I don't know. The last few years I didn't really care, but something about 2026 it makes me go like, ew. But yeah, it's because this year was so great to me. And as I wrap up, I want to reflect a little bit. There's been four major reflections that I wrote down in my notes, and then one that I recently just experienced that I'm going to add to that list. And I just counted, and there's 14 more minor reflections, but I think for this video, I'm just going to touch upon the five big ones. The one big lesson for this year was when I was responding to two different people. And it was actually very obvious because it happened almost back to back. And it was kind of funny because it was like with one person, I was almost like way too accommodating, like very, I wouldn't call it obsequious, but like very, like kind of sugary, trying to sugarcoat, trying to like be nice. And with the other person, I was kind of just like blunt and like too blunt, too uncoded, too like sharp, raw, like well, I don't know, maybe the first person thought that too, but at least for me, like when I was reading the responses that I had for these two different people, I wrote the difference in how I responded to them is exactly the difference between me and a saint. This gap is the difference between me and God. Is because it's very much like the ideal is divine love, which is you should treat everybody the same. I have a quote here on my wall that says, be like the sun, or like the divine light is shines equally on everyone, something like that. So I was like, that is how much I have to go. It's just like when you perceive how you treat people differently, because I was like, this is so obvious. It's like first I was being too nice, and then I was like I was being too mean, and it's just like, let's just split the difference. Let's just even it out a bit. Like I don't need to be that nice, and I don't need to be that mean, but to try to maintain a sense of constancy. The second lesson is during Black Friday. So Americans have this thing after their holiday Thanksgiving, which has become very consumerist because everyone's just shopping for the best holiday deals. So I was like buying a bunch of things, and then like the very nature of online shopping, where just like shopping around gets you in the mindset of comparing options and wanting to buy more and just getting more and more and more. And before you know it, like things that you didn't even think you wanted or needed, you're just now adding to the list and you're just like looking around. So then I was like, all of a sudden I got three mice for no reason. Like I got this mouse because one of my, to be honest, like my older ones weren't working that well. So I did have a reason for it, but after getting this, it wasn't enough. I needed to look for more. I was like, what if there's a better option? So I was like, so I bought two more just to like see and try it out. And then I didn't like any of them as much as this, but then I already unwrapped it from the box. And I was gonna return it, but then someone actually threw out the box. So then I was like, oh, I'm now just stuck with this mouse I don't really need. But then it got me thinking that was a lesson to me. That was how strong the trap of materialism is. That once you get sucked into the mindset of consumerism, of materialism, like I want objects, I want things, then it's like very quickly it's like from just like a few things, it just snowballs from there. And that that just taught me a lesson that first don't even give it energy, don't even give it time, don't even give time to your desire for material objects, because to be honest, none of those things fulfill you, and it's so trivial for you to spend time and energy worrying about this when this like sufficed. It was like, just that's enough, don't pay too much attention, move on. And yeah, and basically looking around my room and I'm realizing that I actually want to give things away. Like honestly, already having clean out stuff, like half the stuff that's remaining should also go. I think that's my goal, to like clean out, give it away, to simplify. And that's one of the lessons that I've been hearing, to simplify life. A great quote from my guru is think highly, live simply. So the more stuff you have, the more it takes energy. It takes energy to maintain. It's like that story about that guy with the cow. Like you have a cow, you have to take care of the cow. Better not don't have the cow. Well, have the cow that you need and get rid of the cows you don't need. Okay. The third lesson was, so I have this, like, you can call it a bad habit or my personal quirk, my penchant. I have a penchant for writing letters. Uh, in emotional situations, I tend to write these letters to people, and I thought I got over it because there was a point in my life where I was like, you know what, girl? I was like, the telltale sign that it's not working is when you want to write a long letter to someone. I was like, the longer the letter, the more it's not right, or it's the more dysfunctional it is. Because if everything were smooth and the door to communication was open and I felt like I could just talk about everything, we could actually talk and communicate, then there's actually no need for me to sit down and write a long letter, right? So, but that's not always true because sometimes you want the space and time to write things that you probably can't say or don't want to say. So that's not entirely true. There's still a need for letters, right? At least for me personally, I feel like even though I was like, okay, this is a bad habit, I should shun it. I should just like not do this anymore. To be honest, in the future I probably will because it just gives me the space to be more intimate and honest. But yeah, so I was writing one of these things and then after I sent it out, I don't know, something just didn't feel right to me. And then I went back. Oh my God. And then I went back and I reread the letter and I reread it. I was like, technically there's nothing wrong with it. Like on an intellectual note, it's technically true. It's technically honest to some degree, right? But then I was like, why does that feel so wrong? Like, why does it bother me? And especially later when I felt the response, I was like, you know what? There is something definitely wrong. And what's wrong? What's wrong with it? It rings true logically, but not emotionally. Something was wrong with it emotionally, and that it was too cold, or it was not very true emotionally. And so I was like, there's a difference. There's a huge difference between the intellectual rightness of something and the truer rightness of something, which is a heart feeling. So I don't know how to actually address this. I guess the lesson for me here is to always to not just see it as how you would want to say it, but also to see how you would receive it and how you would feel if you received it. Um, because how much it hurt just seeing this and then feeling like that hurt myself was it just made me know it was wrong. So it just felt wrong to me. So I'm sorry. The fourth lesson is kind of related to the third one, which is that I did this thing where I wanted to raise awareness about an issue, and because of my kind of activist roots, and I'm still doing things like, that I feel like if I can make a difference, I'll try to do it. But the way I did it was also a bit emotional and rash, in that it was kind of an impulsive thought that I had, and then I just went into it with this feeling. But I think it would have been better executed if I were actually very calm and peaceful. So I think the lesson here is even though your intention is right, even though your heart is right, even if your stance on an issue is right, the nature of being emotional, like being too emotional about something, bring emotionalism, is that it almost immediately activates resistance because it aggravates people, because emotions tend to incite other people's ego. So to work from a very calm and peaceful base, I find, well, first it's the more yogic way, and it's a way of the yogi, and then it also engenders a peaceful communication conversation. So basically those two lessons, I think, for me is to just to work from calmness always, 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 and to not get swept up by my own emotions and my own thoughts, even if it feels right, even if it feels, but just to calm down and take a step back, and then to maybe recalibrate and rethink what is the best way. And the fifth lesson is, so recently I was shopping for more shopping. I was looking for acoustic sound panels to soundproof my room a bit. Because I can hear like loud TV noise coming in, this bass coming in from my environment that I wanted to block out. So, I was trying to meditate and then this bass just kept on coming in and interrupting me. So I was like, I was like, you know what? I need to find a way to block it out. And then so I bought not one, but four, like these really professional, super strong panels. And then I brought them home. I was like really excited. I was like, this is gonna solve the problem. And then immediately I started feeling like almost nauseous and like headache and like just like very uncomfortable, like a lot of ear pressure because I think it was completely like vacuuming my room of sound, of a certain frequency of sound that my ears found very, very unnatural and hard to work with. And I think it's also a result of meditation, to be honest, because no one else actually experienced the same effect. But also, maybe I put too much in one space. I don't know, but either way, it was too much. And I was immediately like, okay, I need to take them out. And the instant I took them out, I started laughing. And I was like, I see you, God. I see what you did. I see what you did. Because the lesson here is there's no point trying to block out noise. There's no point trying to block out things or block out basically any disruption, people, anything. Everything that I've been trying to block out and remove from my life, I realize are externals. And what actually needs to be changed is here. So I was like, what I try to do to fix it was actually worse than the problem itself. And so if I were just to simply accept the noise or the interruption, I think it would have actually first to just not to accept it even, but to deal with it. So basically my other solution was I need to wake up earlier than this out. I need to not meditate when it's like when I hear this TV. I need to wake up like 3 hours earlier when nobody's awake. So then that's my common peace, right? So it's like you can find ways to create the right environment yourself, but oftentimes looking for the solution that blocks it out completely is not the actual solution. So that's a very specific thing about sound, but I can apply it to my life. Okay, so those are the 5 lessons I have for 2025. And I'll see you in 2026 because, yeah, there's a lot more things that we can talk about. Bye.